Let's talk about the mental health continuum. We've talked a little bit about that in context of defining what residential treatment is. But let's talk about that in terms of the mental health continuum that you work with. How do you view your role in the continuum of care?
We probably both share this awareness that we try to stay closely aligned with the acute care settings that can often work in partnership with us, with people that can benefit from what we do. So on the front end of the continuum, I may be dealing with families who are in absolute chaos, and I may be helping to facilitate a mental health interventionist coming in. Maybe there's an attorney who's also needed, where there may be involuntary care that's needed. I mean, those partnerships can be critically important. The person then goes through acute care. Discharge planners from hospitals with very complex people sometimes also look for support. What are the options? Where can that person go to? So they're part of the partnership. And then programs like Pasadena Villa, you're a very important partner in what I'm doing with these very complex people. In my own work, I'm also dealing with sort of long-term challenges that families may face. So you may have someone who has really reached a higher level of functioning and fulfillment, but they still need support. So there's a need for long-term planning, for sometimes financial planners, attorneys, people who can set up trusts and help this long-term support process be developed. So there are multiple partnerships that are needed, including out of the clinical field. I'm becoming more and more aware of psychiatrists who are saying, wait a minute, the outpatient work that I'm doing, this person needs more. Sometimes they're feeling alone. So they need partnerships to help maximize what they're doing with their patients. They may need a transition to a residential treatment program. And also psychotherapists are very much in that mix.
I think it's important to have these collaborations as well to get clients to the most appropriate treatment option.
So across the continuum, we know that there are multiple opportunities for families to find care. And Pasadena Villa fits in that spectrum as a superior residential treatment program. Who are the partners that you work with in order to achieve optimal outcomes?
We work closely with treatment providers that may work with primary substance abuse, eating disorders, that can really provide more appropriate level of care to those type of clients. You mentioned the relationships with acute providers. We have affiliations in the states that we operate with our local hospitals, should they need psychiatric hospitalization. And that occasionally occurs. And we're supported by our local hospitals in that effort. I think we also have very important relationships with outpatient providers, interventionists, therapeutic educational consultants. Those type of collaborations are key for us. And they're important in our treatment environment because so many times, as you know, those providers have been providers that have been connected in some way, shape, or form to a client maybe for several years. And so they have a very thorough understanding of if we have a setback, for example, in treatment, in working in collaboration with them, we can sometimes address it more timely by working with them because of their perspective with the history of working with that client. I don't know if you encounter this.
Well, I do encounter that. I'm thinking about, collaboration across the continuum. And I think
That's
about
right.
the families that sometimes come to us, especially early on in the process. They are frightened. They don't know where to turn. Too often, what I'm running into is families that may be sold a quick fix. Here, come and do this. Everything's going to be fine. Johnny or Sarah are going to be fine again. And maybe, and maybe not. The more complex, the more likely it is the person needs the full continuum, from acute care, sometimes to specialty care, residential care, outpatient. It's a continuum. Consultation can be helpful to give families also that courage and ability to find out what the next option is, empower them to choose it, and to help their family member become reintegrated.